Tonight, America is mourning. We didn't just lose a star, we lost a legend, a piece of history.
The news arrived quietly, like a fading echo from another time. In the early hours of the morning, reports confirmed that Judy Pace, a pioneering actress who helped change the face of American television, had passed away. For many, her name carried memories of a bold era when doors slowly began to open for performers who had long been kept outside. Born into a world where opportunities for Black actresses were painfully limited, Judy Pace stepped onto the screen with quiet determination. She did not arrive with loud declarations or dramatic entrances. Instead, she brought steady talent, calm confidence, and a presence that felt both graceful and strong. In the 1960s, when television was still shaping its identity, her performances began to capture attention. Her role in the popular drama series Peyton marked an important turning point. At a time when representation was rare and often stereotyped, Judy Pace appeared as a complex character with dignity and depth. Viewers saw not just a supporting figure, but a woman with her own story, emotions, and voice. This subtle shift mattered more than many realized at the time. Producers and casting directors slowly began to take notice. Soon she found herself appearing in the legal drama The Young Lawyers. Once again, her work stood out for its natural warmth and thoughtful delivery. She was not simply acting, she was helping audiences imagine a broader and more inclusive world. Each role she accepted became another step forward in an industry that was learning, sometimes slowly, how to change. Colleagues often described her as focused and quietly fearless. One former co-star later shared in a tribute, "Judy never demanded attention, but you could not ignore her. She carried a quiet power that lifted everyone around her." These words reflected what many felt but rarely said aloud during those early years. Behind the camera, her journey was not always easy. There were moments of rejection and frustration, moments when progress seemed painfully slow. Yet Judy Pace continued to show up, prepared and professional, ready to prove that talent could not be denied forever. She believed deeply that visibility mattered. By simply doing her job with excellence, she was opening doors for the next generation. As the decades passed, her career expanded into film and guest appearances across various television programs. Audiences who grew up watching her began to recognize her not only as an actress but as a symbol of change. She represented a time when society itself was in motion, when cultural walls were being challenged by artists who refused to accept limits. Family members later spoke about her private strength. In a heartfelt statement, one relative wrote, "She carried history on her shoulders, but she still made time to laugh, to listen, and to remind us that kindness is a form of courage." Those who knew her personally often remembered her gentle humor and her love for storytelling beyond the spotlight. Social media tributes soon began to appear, as fans from different generations shared memories of seeing her on screen for the first time. One admirer posted, "Watching Judy Pace made me believe that I belonged in the stories I loved." Such reflections showed how deeply her work had touched lives far beyond the sets where she once performed. Her influence also reached younger actors who followed in her footsteps. Many credited her with helping to normalize diverse casting in mainstream productions. Though she never claimed to be a revolutionary, history would come to recognize her as part of a powerful movement that reshaped entertainment. Her presence helped transform television from a narrow mirror into a wider window. In later years, Judy Pace chose to live more quietly, stepping back from the intense pace of the industry she had helped change. Yet her legacy continued to grow. Film historians and cultural commentators often revisited her performances as examples of subtle but meaningful progress. They saw in her career a reminder that true change often begins with a single role played with honesty and heart. The passing of Judy Pace marks the end of a remarkable chapter in television history. She was more than a familiar face on screen. She was a trailblazer who moved forward with grace during a time of great uncertainty. Her work helped audiences see new possibilities, not through grand speeches, but through the simple power of presence. Today, as tributes continue to flow from colleagues, fans, and cultural institutions, her memory stands as a quiet beacon. Judy Pace leaves behind not only a body of work but also a path that others can continue to walk. In the glow of studio lights and the stillness of living rooms where her performances once played, her influence remains. Her story now settles gently into history, carried by those who remember her courage and her calm determination. And in that shared memory, Judy Pace's legacy endures. A lasting reminder that sometimes the most powerful changes begin with a single steady step onto the screen. The news was confirmed in a quiet statement that spread gently through the entertainment community. Wendy Playfair, a familiar and comforting presence on television screens for decades, had passed away. For many viewers, her face was linked to evenings spent following dramatic stories and characters who felt almost like family. Her journey into performance began long before television made her widely known. Wendy Playfair first built her craft through radio and stage work, learning the discipline of timing, voice control, and emotional truth. These early years shaped her calm professionalism. They also gave her the strength to adapt as the world of broadcasting began to change. When she eventually stepped into television drama, audiences quickly noticed her natural presence. She did not seek attention with loud gestures or dramatic displays. Instead, she brought steady emotion and quiet depth to every role she played. This gentle approach made her characters believable and relatable. Her most remembered role came in the long-running prison drama Prisoner. Through this series, she became a recognizable figure to viewers who returned week after week. Her performance carried a sense of humanity that softened even the harshest storylines. Many fans later said her scenes brought balance and warmth to the intense atmosphere of the show. Co-stars often spoke about her kindness behind the camera. One former colleague shared, "Wendy had a way of making everyone feel safe. She listened carefully and she treated every person on set with respect." These small acts of care created a working environment built on trust and quiet encouragement. Outside the spotlight, Wendy Playfair remained devoted to her craft. She continued appearing in stage productions and guest roles across television programs. Her ability to move between different forms of performance showed both her versatility and her dedication. She believed that acting was not about fame but about telling honest stories. As years passed, her steady presence became a source of comfort for audiences who had grown up watching her. Viewers saw her as more than just an actress. She represented continuity in an industry that often changed quickly. One fan wrote in an online tribute, "Seeing Wendy on screen felt like coming home after a long day. She made the stories feel real." Friends and family later reflected on her gentle humor and thoughtful nature. In a brief statement, a relative said, "She lived quietly but she cared deeply." Wendy believed that even small roles could leave a lasting mark. These words captured the spirit of a woman who valued connection over recognition. Her career also mirrored the evolution of broadcast entertainment itself. From radio studios filled with scripts and microphones to television sets shaped by new technology, Wendy Playfair adapted with grace. She embraced each era without losing the authenticity that defined her performances. Younger actors who worked with her often described her as a mentor. She encouraged them to focus on patience and preparation. Her advice was simple but meaningful. She would remind them that the audience could always sense sincerity, even through a screen. In later years, she chose to step back from frequent appearances, allowing space for reflection and rest. Yet her work continued to be revisited by loyal viewers and drama enthusiasts. Clips of her performances circulated online, introducing her talent to a new generation. Her legacy quietly found fresh life in these shared memories. The passing of Wendy Playfair marks the close of a chapter shaped by dedication and quiet strength. She was never the loudest voice in the room. Still, her influence reached far beyond the roles she portrayed. Through consistency and compassion, she helped shape the emotional tone of television drama during important decades of growth. Today, as tributes continue to appear from colleagues and fans, her memory stands as a symbol of reliability and grace. Wendy Playfair leaves behind a body of work that speaks softly yet clearly about the power of sincerity in performance. Her story now lives on in the scenes she helped bring to life and in the hearts of those who watched her with admiration. In the gentle rhythm of old broadcasts and the shared nostalgia of loyal audiences, her presence remains. And in that enduring remembrance, Wendy Playfair's legacy continues to offer comfort. A quiet farewell carried through time and memory. The tragic news was confirmed in a quiet announcement that soon echoed across music communities and radio stations. Eric Carmen, the singer-songwriter whose emotional voice shaped some of the most memorable ballads of his era, had passed away. For fans around the world, the loss felt deeply personal, as if a familiar soundtrack to their lives had suddenly fallen silent. His journey into music began with a passion for melody and storytelling. From a young age, Eric Carmen showed a strong connection to both rock rhythms and classical sounds. This unusual blend would later become his signature style. It gave his songs a sense of drama and tenderness that set them apart from many of his contemporaries. In the early 1970s, he rose to prominence as the frontman of the power pop band The Raspberries. With energetic performances and catchy harmonies, the group quickly gained a loyal following. Their music captured the spirit of youth and possibility, while also revealing Eric's growing confidence as a songwriter and performer. Yet it was his solo career that truly revealed the depth of his emotional expression. Songs like All by Myself and Hungry Eyes became timeless hits, connecting with listeners who found comfort in his honest portrayal of love, longing, and vulnerability. His voice carried both strength and fragility, creating moments that felt deeply human. Friends and collaborators often described him as thoughtful and driven. One former bandmate shared in a tribute, "Eric believed that music should tell the truth. He never rushed a song. He waited until it felt real." This dedication helped shape recordings that would endure far beyond their original release dates. As his popularity grew, Eric Carmen continued to experiment with sound and arrangement. His background in classical music influenced the dramatic structure of many compositions. This careful attention to detail allowed his ballads to rise and fall like emotional journeys. Audiences responded with admiration and loyalty, filling concert halls to hear him perform live. Fans also remember the way his songs became part of everyday life. They played during quiet late-night drives, at weddings, and during moments of reflection. One social media tribute read, "His music helped me through heartbreak and hope." Eric Carmen sang what many of us could not say. Such words revealed how his work became a shared emotional language. Despite success, he remained grounded in his love for creating. He spent long hours writing, revising, and searching for melodies that could move people. Family members later reflected on his private nature. In a brief statement, one relative said, "He was happiest at the piano, lost in a new idea. Music was where he felt most understood." Over time, his influence reached younger musicians who admired his ability to blend vulnerability with powerful sound. They saw in his career a reminder that sincerity could be just as impactful as spectacle. His songs continued to appear in films, television soundtracks, and live performances by new artists, giving his legacy fresh life. Even as the music industry changed, Eric Carmen's recordings remained relevant. Listeners from different generations discovered his work and found comfort in its emotional clarity. His ballads became more than just popular tracks. They became cultural memories, tied to personal stories and meaningful moments. The passing of Eric Carmen marks the end of a remarkable chapter in modern music history. He was not only a performer but also a storyteller who understood the quiet power of feeling. Through every note and lyric, he invited audiences to embrace both joy and sorrow without fear. Today, tributes continue to flow from fellow musicians, fans, and cultural figures who recognize his lasting contribution. His voice may no longer echo from the stage, but it continues to live on through recordings that still touch hearts. In the gentle rise of a piano melody or the familiar chorus of a beloved song, Eric Carmen's presence remains. His music stands as a lasting reminder that vulnerability can become strength when shared with the world. And in that enduring harmony of memory and emotion, his legacy finds its final heartfelt farewell.